Shepherd's pie, if we're really honest with ourselves, it's one of the nation's favourite dishes. And it's very simple. Garlic, onions, fried off, lamb mince, Worcester sauce, little flour, water, and the secret ingredient, as always, is a raw beef stock pot. Little oil, chopped onion, again, garlic, it's optional. As always, cook your onions to remove the water content, to remove the acidity, to allow the natural sweetness. A little colour with the shepherd's pie. Lamb, beef stock pot, it works fantastically well. And if you're making a cottage pie, exactly the same method, exactly the same recipe, no difference. Add the lamb and then break it up and mix it in with the onion. As you can see, the water content of the lamb is starting to release. What you have to do is continue to cook so that water evaporates. By doing that, it intensifies the flavour of the lamb again. And once the water's evaporated, then we can singe the lamb and then proceed into stage 2 with the Worcester sauce, etc. My lamb's now been cooking with the onions and the garlic for approx 10 minutes. But you can hear this crackling now. That's because the water is almost gone. Once that happens, then I can start to singe my meat. That little bit of fat content which is still in the lamb will now render, caramelise. And that's how I'm building my flavour. Lots of people don't go to this extreme. Not because they're lazy, they just don't know. And so if you've got the time, then spend that extra 10-15 minutes evaporating the water and working your lamb. So there's no big lumps in there. How many times do you have a shepherd's pie with big balls of mince all glued together? That's because it hasn't been worked properly, it hasn't been cooked properly. We just add a little bit of flour just for body and texture. About 10 grams per half kilo. Worcester sauce, again to taste. Little tomato puree, beef stock pot, and then water, approx half a litre. So as you can see, we're building all the layers of flavour that are required for a great shepherd's pie. And a little sprig of thyme. Now we cook that slowly for about an hour. When you're making something like shepherd's pie, there's no real recipe. It's more method than recipe. So, you allow your palate to dictate. If you don't like Worcester sauce, leave it out. If you don't like tomato puree, leave it out. In my opinion, most people make their shepherd's pie too dry. I like my shepherd's pie quite wet, but still with texture. So when it's put onto my plate, it collapses, but it still holds together, rather than it being a solid block. But again, everyone to their own. So our shepherd's pie mix has now been braising slowly on top of the stove for 1 hour. As you can see, there's a nice richness, and also it's not too dry, it's not too wet. So what we do now is we just spoon this into our dish. So then sprinkle my carrots and my diced swede, which has been cooked already. Some people sprinkle peas with their shepherd's pie. I prefer to root veg and peas on the side. And so now I'll allow this to chill and to set, which will enable me to put my potato on top. So as you can see, the shepherd's pie is now set. I have 1 kilo of mashed potatoes. Just very simply spread your mash. There's nothing worse, a friend once told me, when you run out of mashed potato. So there's our basic. As you can see, I've spread the mash over my pie dish evenly, and I've created a nice seal. For presentation, dip your knife into the water so it just rides across the mash. Pop in an oven, which is very hot, for about 20 to 30 minutes. So there we have it, our shepherd's pie, 30 minutes in the oven, beautifully moist inside, not too wet, not too dry, and then we have this nice crispy topping, quite fluffy underneath.